Good afternoon. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Providence City Council. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Present.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Present.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Present.
Councilman Correa.
Present.
Councilman Espinal.
Present.
Councilman Goncalves.
Present.
Councilwoman Harris.
Present.
Councilman Igliozzi.
Present.
Councilor Kerwin.
Present.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Present.
Councilor Miller.
Present.
Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Present.
Councilman Salvatore.
Present.
Councilman Taylor.
Here.
You have 14 present and 1 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. The invocation will be given by Councilman David Salvatore.
Thank you. Loving God, we give you thanks for granting us another day. Provide our world with solace as the effects of the coronavirus are spreading still in many states nationwide. Bless and comfort those who suffer from this disease. Give them healing. Bless and comfort those who mourn the loss of loved ones in the wake of the pandemic. We ask you, loving Lord, to guide professionals in the field of healthcare who care for the sick, the suffering, and the poor, and those who dedicate their life's work to find treatments and cures to diseases as they emerge. In our communities throughout Rhode Island and our nation, Lord, continue to bless governments and the residents who we are blessed to serve with a spirit of respect and collaboration. Lord, bless us with your love, for more love is needed now. The people's voice has given way to intentional public discourse for change and the beginning of the end to the prejudices that afflict our communities. May reforms that arise from the value of our conversation with one another ultimately benefit our community as a whole. Bless the people's providence, and may all that is done be for your greater honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman James Taylor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, born and unborn.
Mr. Solicitor, could you please state the legality of this meeting on the record, please?
Yes, good evening. Per Governor Raimondo's executive order, it is appropriate for us to hold this meeting via video conferencing.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Executive Order, Item 3, Executive Order 2020-10, submitted by His Honor the Mayor, dated June 19th, 2020. Removal of the term plantations from City of Providence documents and ceremonies.
Receive.
Appointment by His Honor the Mayor, Item 4, communication from His Honor the Mayor dated June 25th, 2020, informing the honorable members of the City Council that pursuant to Section 302B of the Providence Home Rule Charter of 1980 as amended, and Public Law, Chapter 45-50, Sections 1 through 31, passed in 1987, and Providence Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2007-51, Ordinance Number 504, he is this day appointing Jesus Holgan of 87 Vesey Street, Providence, Rhode Island, 02908, to the Environmental Sustainability Task Force.
Receive.
Appointment by the Council President. Item 5, communication from Council President Matos, dated June 26, 2020, informing the City Clerk of her appointment of April H. Brown as a member of the Special Committee for Commemorative Works.
Receive.
Presentation of ordinances. Councilwoman Miller, Anthony, Kerwin, Councilman Salvatore, Taylor, Councilwoman LaFortune, and Councilman Goncalves. An ordinance and amendment of Article 22 of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Providence entitled Administration, amending Section 2-358.
Refer to the Committee on Ordinance.
Item 7, Councilman Salvatore, Espinal, and Goncalves. An ordinance and amendment of Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Providence entitled Licensing, adding Article 17, Adult Entertainment Establishments.
Refer to the Committee on Ordinance.
Presentation of resolutions.
Madam President.
Item 8.
Leader Ryan,
Motion to ask the clerk to read items 8 through 18 into the record and to pass on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
the motion has been made and second to ask the clerk to read the items 8 through 18 into the records, and these items will be passed on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk? You're muted.
Thank you. Presentation of resolutions. Item 8, Council President Matos, Councilman Goncalves, Councilwoman Anthony, Councilman Espinal, and Narducci. Resolution urging the General Assembly to expand the types of degrees eligible for education reimbursement for police officers. Do I have any additional co-sponsors for this item?
Mr. Clerk, I'll co-sponsor if there's no objection.
Madam President, I'd like to co-sponsor if there's no objection.
Pro Tem Correa and Chairman Igliosi.
I have raised my
Councilwoman-
hand, but obviously the machine is not working.
Oh, sorry. No, I'll take a look at the machine. Councilwoman Castillo, Councilwoman Harris, Majority Leader Ryan, Councilwoman LaFortune, Councilman Salvatore.
Thank you, so noted, and thank you for using the raise hand function. Item number 9. Councilwoman Castillo, Councilman Goncalves, Councilwoman Anthony, Councilman Espinal, Councilwoman Kerwin, and Councilman Narducci. Resolution requesting the Attorney General's office review its internal policies and prosecuting juveniles. Any additional co-sponsors?
Councilwoman Miller, Councilman Salvatore, Pro Tem Correa, Chairman Igliosi, Leader Ryan, Deputy Majority Leader Harris, and yep, I think I got everybody.
Did I also see Councilor Kerwin? No. Yes.
Carol? Okay.
She is listed as a sponsor already, Mr.
Oh, yes, she is. Thank you. Item 10, Councilman Correa, Council President Matos, and Councilman Narducci. Resolution requesting the Director of Inspection and Standards to cause the property located at 113 Baudouin Street to be raised due to its hazardous conditions and nuisance to the neighborhood. Any additional co-sponsors?
Councilwoman LaFortune, do you want to co-sponsor that one?
I actually, yes. So I actually was raising my hand to co-sponsor item number 9, please.
Number 9? Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So for item number 10, we have Deputy Majority Leader Harris, and we have Espinal, Goncalves. Okay. All right.
Item 11, resolution requesting the Director of Inspection and Standards to cause the property located at 117 Baudouin Street to be raised due to its hazardous conditions and nuisance to the neighborhood. This also is sponsored by Councilman Correa, Council President Matos, and Councilman Narducci at this point. Any additional co-sponsors?
Harris, Deputy Majority Leader Harris is co-sponsor. And Espinal. Councilman Espinal.
Okay. And that's also Councilman Goncalves as well.
Yes, Councilman Goncalves.
Item 12, resolution requesting the Director of Public Works repair the guardrail located at 14 Gray Street.
Any additional?
All of these items that I'm reading, the next 5 items that I'm reading are Councilman Correa, Council President Matos, and Councilman Narducci at this point. So any additional to those 3, raise your hand if you would like to co-sponsor. I see Harris.
Deputy Majority Leader Harris. Chairman Iglesias.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to co-sponsor item number 16. There's no objections.
Yeah, sure.
We'll move to item 13 now. There are no co-sponsors
Okay.
for 12. Resolution requesting the Director of Public Works to cause the repair of the guardrail and fence located on Bodwin Street between Amherst Street and Atwells Avenue.
Any additional co-sponsor for item 14?
Item 14, resolution requesting the Director of Public Works and RIPTA to cause the repair and or removal of the damaged bus shelter located at 976 Chalkstone Avenue.
Leader Ryan is co-sponsoring. Chairman Iglesias, Deputy Majority Leader Harris, and Councilman Espinal.
Castillo.
Councilwoman Castillo. Sorry, I've been looking at the raise hands. If you can raise hands, so if I miss you, please. I'm trying to keep track of the raise hand feature. Okay. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Clerk.
Item 15, resolution requesting the Director of Public Works and RIPTA to cause the repair and or removal of the damaged bus shelter located at 470 Manton Avenue.
Leader Ryan. Chairman Iglesias, Leader Harris, Councilman Espinal. Councilwoman Castillo.
Item 16, resolution requesting the Director of Public Works to cause the installation of steel bollards at Laurel Hill Avenue and Whatcheer Avenue. I already have Councilman Chairman Iglesias. Any additional sponsors to the other 3? Thank you. Item 17, Councilwoman Harris, Council President Matos, Councilwoman Anthony, and Councilman Narducci. Resolution endorsing and urging passage by the General Assembly of House Bill 2020 H-7747, an act relating to courts and civil procedure generally, causes of action.
Councilwoman LaFortune, Councilman Goncalves, Councilman Espinal, Pro Tem Correa, Chairman Iglesias, Councilwoman Castillo, Leader Ryan, Councilman Salvatore, and Councilman Goncalves.
So noted. Item 18, Councilman Iglesias, Council President Matos, Councilwoman Ryan, Castillo, Councilman Taylor, Goncalves, and Narducci. Resolution requesting the creation of a social services program embedded in Providence's Public Safety Division.
Pro Tem Correa, Deputy Majority Leader Mary Kay Harris. All right, so the motion was made on second for the clerk to read the item, and the vote is going to be on a roll call vote.
And I see Councilwoman Castillo is also for number 18.
Number 18?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to
Right.
spoke
Thank
in
you.
number 9.
It's already listed as a sponsor for 18.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Councilman, you want to speak on item number 9, you said?
Yes, please.
All right, so yeah, so Councilwoman Castillo for item number 9, discussion.
Okay, so thank you everybody for support this. We have a lot of kids, teenagers in my neighborhood. They feel like, they make a little mistake and their life is down forever. And I believe when that law was created, is really long time ago, the kids don't have access to the internet like they have access right now for the media. So for me, it's really important, like one kid's come to me and say, my life is done. I don't want to go to college and anything. So I really support this ordinance and go to a state to try to take it out this for the kids when they have it 18. I don't say, like they can be like do something and nothing happened to them. I believe we can put them to pay the consequences in different way and don't blank their record forever for the rest of their life. So thank you for your support, guys.
Thank you.
I see Chairman Iglesias raise his hand. Chairman Iglesias, you want to speak on a particular item?
Yeah, no, item number 18, Madam President.
Okay, Chairman Iglesias on item number 18.
Very quickly, first I urge all my council colleagues to support this initiative. On the last few weeks, of course, the country, the city, we've gone through some very difficult and trying times, trying to balance the community's concerns concerning interaction with police, both positive and negative. We had, as you know, we had a public hearing on the budget itself. It lasted about 9 hours, and things that they were talking about, of course, was either defunding or abolishing the police department in completion. But one of the things I thought was interesting, and actually was brought to my attention a week prior, but a woman came before the podium. It was probably hour 6 or whatever it was, and she talked about a program in Eugene, Oregon. And as you reference it, you see it in it's called Cahoots. And basically, I guess, how they've been handling what they call basically social service calls. And as you know, several resolutions here talk about the training of our police officers and whether it's inadequate or not enough, or we should get more training concerning interaction, concerning social calls, social service calls. Police officers, they called for horrific things. Unfortunately, we just had I believe our second horrific homicide in the city recently. So we do have serious crimes like that. We do have folks that prey upon our constituents with drugs and all other type of illegal activity. And on the other, that's on the most egregious end. On the other end, we have constituents and we have family and friends and people we know that run into social problems, social issues, whether it's substance abuse, et cetera. So this program here is a program in which we'd have those options. So let's say a call gets, the police receive a call about someone with an abuse problem. Let's say someone is having one too many to drink. Well, traditionally right now, we either call the police or the fire department or both. And both those entities aren't really completely prepared or well-versed enough to handle such issues. So this proposal would create a third option. Instead of calling the police or the fire department, we'd call the emergency social service unit, in which they would arrive upon the scene and they would be able to make the assessment and to help that individual on that type of call, on that type of issue and problem. What's being proposed is basically overall a pilot program. Next week in the Finance Committee, we're going to be bringing it up, and we're going to be looking at several aspects. First of all, we're going to be looking into the master lease in order to acquire some equipment for this type of social service program. Also, we'll be looking at funding and also the scope of how it would work, meaning you put out a scope and you put forward a pilot program in which, and then where it would be located. I've been talking with the administration. They seem very enthusiastic about this idea, and I hope all my colleagues also. I think it's one of the things that we kept on hearing. By the way, besides the emails and the phone calls and even on the testimony, was one of the issues about this types of having a basically emergency social service unit. So I urge my colleagues to support this. Come to next week's Finance Committee meeting. We're going to get into the detail of it. And we're going to be able to get into how to fund it, get the appropriate action, scope of work, and then how that would go out to bid. So a social service agency would then bid into it. So I think it can only help us. It helps the city with those types of calls. I think it also alleviates that interaction or that potential interaction between our public safety units and a person who needs a social service call. So I'm look forward to hopefully that all of you can join on this initiative, that we all can support in this upcoming budget. And then it seems that Eugene, Oregon is very similar size and everything as a Providence. And they've had a very successful program. Hopefully we can mirror that, and hopefully it can help alleviate some of the problems. It's not going to solve it all, but I think it's definitely a positive step in the right direction. So I urge all of you to support it, and thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Chairman Igliosi. Next is Pro Tem Correa, but I just want to acknowledge Councilwoman Miller. I got you. You're going to be next, okay? Pro Tem Correa.
Yeah, Madam President, just if we can go back to item number 7, if I can be listed as a co-sponsor, if there's no objections from the sponsors. I tried to raise my hand before, but I was having difficulties.
Sorry, Councilman. So, Mr. Clerk, can you please make a note of that?
So noted.
Okay. All right. So next is going to be Councilor Miller, and after Councilor Miller will be Councilor Kerwin. And then I see Salvatore, then Harris, then LaFortune, okay? Hopefully I remember that. Councilor Miller.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to also speak briefly on item 18. So on the one hand, I'm so excited that the chairman and other members of council are having this conversation and engaging this conversation that is obviously so urgent. Based on the number of calls we've gotten, the number of dedicated people sharing these really vulnerable and personal stories at the hearing. One of the things, and I know we'll get to have this conversation next week in the Finance Committee, and I look forward to it. I won't be supporting the resolution tonight because I think one of the things that we're going to learn about programs like Cahoots, when we get to talk to some of the people who have been working on them for so many years, is that they function and they work because they are utterly independent. So not an embedded group within the police department, but a totally independent force. So like when you call 911, you could get the fire, you could get a program like Cahoots, or you could get police. And I think that's a really critical, important piece that I'm missing from this resolution tonight. So while I don't support this effort tonight, I am really looking forward to the conversation next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Miller. Councilor Kerwin.
Thank you, Council President. Similarly to Councilor Miller, I will also not be supporting this resolution. While I appreciate the sentiment and the work that's gone into it, I do really think it is urgent for there to be a social service kind of branch that's responding to calls like the ones that come in through the Providence Police Department. But I agree with Councilor Miller that I think the program would be far more suitable if it was not within the police department or the public safety branch, but instead a separate entity. I've spoken a lot about how in my neighborhood there is a tremendous need for there to be, whether it be, mental health counselors or some sort of social work provider responding to calls. Even in the scenarios of domestic violence in my neighborhood, people will tell me after the fact that they did not pick up the phone and call the police because of the repercussions and what they feared what would happen. So for the reason that this program right now is being introduced as a program within the Public Safety Division, I will not be supporting it, but I look forward to a future conversation about a program similar to this.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge that I see Council Deputy Majority Leader Harris raise her hand, and I also see Councilwoman LaFortune, but next is Councilman Salvatore, then LaFortune, then Harris. Okay, Councilman Salvatore.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Councilman Igliosi for taking on this endeavor. I think it's an extremely important conversation to have during this trying time in not only our state's history, but in our nation's history. I think where I'm coming from is our ability to make a decision on a major piece of public policy without having all of the details. And again, while I applaud the councilman for spearheading this initiative, I think it would be helpful prior to approving a resolution to have the hearing in the committee and specifically invite folks from Eugene, Oregon to learn what has worked and what hasn't worked. And I think that will help tailor a program within Providence that is suitable for the needs of our residents. So again, while I haven't been briefed on the Eugene, Oregon program. It sounds like it has been successful, but again, I think it would be helpful to hear from folks who are on the ground, who are instrumental in implementation of their program, and again, tailoring it to the needs of our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. So next is Councilwoman LaFortune, and after would be Councilwoman Harris. Councilwoman LaFortune.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Chair. I appreciate your efforts in trying to initiate an initiative to better serve our community. One thing I will say about the Cahoots program in Eugene, Oregon is, yes, it has been successful, but one thing that we need to take into consideration is the demographics of the population in Eugene is significantly different than the demographics of the population in Providence. One of the things that in Oregon in general, Eugene, in other parts of that area that they've struggled with is homelessness and folks with mental health issues, which is one of the reasons why they have these community workers who are going out there. And so I agree with Councilman Salvatore in really getting more information, also speaking with community members. So the person who presented was Becky, who's one of my constituents. And I had an opportunity to speak to Councilwoman Miller, Daniel Antison, who actually worked for Cahoots in Eugene. I've had conversations with Angela Ancoma Bennerman, or Angela Bennerman Ancoma at United Way, because they also have the 211 initiative where they're connecting people with resources. And United Way 211 in Connecticut actually has a crisis response initiative. And I agree with Councilwoman Miller as well as Kerwin that this has to be independent of the police department. Because what people said during those hearings and what we've heard also from the community is that there's this lack of trust and within the community and the police department. And what the community is looking for is for people who understand their needs, who can respond, who can de-escalate situations rather than criminalize them if they are having any type of mental health breakdown or if they're just in need of resources. And so we've initiated these conversations. We're bringing in community leaders and policy directors from some of our organizations that are doing the work. House of Hope has an initiative. There are many organizations within Providence that do that work, that respond to the needs of our community, particularly our most vulnerable community members. And so I too will not be supporting this resolution, but I do hope that once we have an opportunity to present to your committee, we can all work collaboratively in creating something that makes sense for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Yeah, I may yield the floor because I think some of the sentiments that have been already presented is some of my concerns about, by the way, we are in the moment and we should be trying to figure out exactly how we can definitely make the changes that we need to make. We're definitely trying to do the best we can. I agree that, although we had one community group speak, it may have just sparked this. I think there is an opportunity for the entire communities, all throughout the communities, to weigh in, since we all have some reason or the other to be connected or interacting with the police one way or the other. Who should come and who should not come at that particular time. I agree. I mean, I definitely feel like there is a lot of overwhelming things that the police are asked to do. Even you talked about music and everything else. So we have to try to figure out some niche. But I would like to see this, Mr. Chairman, open up, if this could be like sort of public hearing so we can hear from more of the people like we did with the CSA. And we know that with that, you know, it's a collective power and, you know, everybody is bought into it because after all, the police serve the entire Providence. So I just wanted to say that I really support the initiative behind it because I believe we are in a moment and we need to be making some changes and transformation and things that will really be affected in the police department. So I thank you for the moment to be able to speak on that. But everybody has said some of the things I have a little concern around, and especially by being internally in the police department. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Chairman Iglesias, I just want to check with Councilwoman Castillo.
Sure.
Councilwoman Castillo, was your hand up or you're exercising your hand? I guess it was exercising, Chairman Iglesias. Then after that, I have Councilman Espinal after that. Chairman Iglesias, go ahead.
Yeah, so just to kind of alleviate some of your concerns, actually, when you read the resolution, it specifically states that the council is requesting that the council with the mayor's office and city local community organizations work together to create a lead social service program modeled off like a CAHOOTS program. So the resolution actually calls for this discussion and actually calls for further discussion and exactly what Councilman Deputy Majority Leader Harris was talking about. It's a resolution to begin the ball rolling. Also, we utilize the CAHOOTS because it doesn't mean you have to put in the public safety division, but the CAHOOTS program's in the public safety division. So at the time, we said, okay, let's just try to mirror that, but that doesn't mean you have to mirror that. The administration has already spoken about having it be into the healthy communities unit of the city of Providence, or the mayor's office on, was it drug abuse and et cetera. So just so you understand, council colleagues, that this is just the beginning. I hope that you could reconsider because all the resolution is just the beginning to begin that conversation. Whether it passes or not, we will be having that conversation anyway, starting next week anyway, in which we will be talking about it and bringing in the community leaders and folks and stuff like that. We actually had, I know the office has reached out to the CAHOOTS folks and they've spoken to them in some detail. And the goal will be hopefully to get some of them online. That was one of the goals, hopefully next week. Also, working with the mayor's office the past couple of weeks in order to figure out how to shepherd such a program and where it belongs and how much and et cetera. So all your issues are absolutely correct, but the resolution actually addresses every single one of your issues. All it is just to be that we all agree. I guess there's a question. If we all agree with the proposed concept, then I urge you all to support the resolution. Your concerns are going to be alleviated because that's what the discussion in the Finance Committee is all about, to start creating it, crafting it, and molding it into what's a program that's appropriate for the city of Providence and its needs. So I would ask you to take a leap of faith and take 2 steps forward versus take a negative step backwards in order to hope that it goes forward. So I urge you all to hopefully to take that leap, and hopefully that we all can start putting a program together in earnest sooner than later. And also to have and start this conversation. Councilwoman Harris is absolutely right. We're inviting community leaders. We're going to be ordering, inviting places like Crossroads and all the other social agencies. So that process is happening and will happen. So I just urge you all to reconsider, and because I think it's something that we all should get behind, and that we all can celebrate, hopefully as a positive step forward for the people of Providence and to make a better place to live. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next is Councilman Espinal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam President. I almost wish that we had this conversation prior to tonight's City Council discussion. I think there are good points on both sides. I personally feel that I don't have enough information about the program. I just begun looking into it and see what the positives and the pros and cons are within the program. So I personally feel that I'm don't have enough information, so I will be particularly abstaining from voting on this issue, which I need more information on. Thank you.
All right. So Leader Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of this resolution. I heard my colleagues and they were all great points, but what I did hear was that I think we all are in agreement that we need to add a social service component to our policing initiative. We heard it loud and clear, those that participated in the Finance Committee public hearing or listened to it afterward. I think it's critical, and I reread after the chairman noted the language in this resolution. I just took the opportunity while people were speaking to reread the resolution, and I think it is clear. It is calling for us to create a social service program component in our city, which I think everyone is in favor of. I also note that the resolution is clear in that it requests the mayor, the commissioner of public safety, to work with the city council and city local community organizations to create a community-led social service program. It's modeled off of Cahoot's program in Eugene, Oregon. It's not Cahoot's program. It's beginning the discussion, as the chairman had aptly stated. I think that it's an important discussion. It's critical discussion. I've been having many chats with my community and everyone wants this community service component to be introduced. I can't see why we wouldn't support this evening because it is the beginning of the discussion. And you know, where it falls, what department it falls in is yet to be discerned. As everybody knows, when a resolution or an ordinance is introduced or passed in our body on the floor, it becomes a product, a legislative product that can be debated further in committee. And I'm sure this one will be. I'm sure, and I hope it will be. It certainly will have to be debated as part of our budgeting discussions in the Finance Committee. Because it certainly will need to be funded. So I urge my colleagues to just rethink their position on this resolution. I think it's a really important one for the city of Providence. Again, having listened to 9+ hours of testimony, that was extremely compelling. And my colleagues tonight spoke about, you know, Councilwoman Castillo spoke about a resolution that she worked on so that our young people weren't mocked and burdened for their whole life for making one mistake. Those are all important components, and this is one piece of the bigger puzzle. We all play a part in trying to find resolution. I think this is a good resolution, and I am supporting it. Thank you.
Councilman Goncalves.
Thank you, Madam President. Chairman Igliozzi, thank you for your work. I commend your efforts. And originally I signed on as a co-sponsor, but I would like to agree with my council colleagues. I again commend your efforts. And as my colleague, Councilman Espinal articulated, I hope that we have dialogue around this issue. It's important to put the people of our city front and center, as well as our Black and Brown community. And not just impose top-down policy. So as Councilwoman Miller, LaFortune, and Kerwin have eloquently stated, the independence of the police department is something to note in looking at these programs, and continuing to have a hearing in committee to have folks weigh in, as well as my council colleagues be a part of the process is incredibly important. And I think Councilman Salvatore mentioned inviting folks from Eugene, Oregon is crucial to rolling this out. If there are calls that don't seem to require law enforcement because they don't involve a legal issue or some kind of extreme threat or violence or risk to a person, we should look into this. Social programs, ways that we can have social workers be more a part of this process. And in many cases, such programs do take police out of the equation when it comes to addressing needs around mental health, people who are struggling with substance abuse, or people who are experiencing homelessness. So I look forward to trying to find a unifying solution, putting our community voices front and center in those experiencing systemic injustices, and really listening to those around us about what they need as we engage in this work moving forward.
Okay, Councilman Chairman Iglesias.
Yes, Madam President, if I may, in order for, so my position is that so we don't send a negative message to the people of Providence, I respectfully request that the matter that for item 18, the second be withdrawn and the first, and then it be forwarded to the Finance Committee. So then we can just continue to do what we were planning on doing anyway. Hopefully that will alleviate some of my council colleagues' concerns, but also send a positive message to the community that we hear their voices, we take what they're saying serious. So this way, tomorrow in the newspaper, if it was defeated tonight, the people of Providence would think that we're not listening. So I respectfully request a second, and then the motion be withdrawn, and then sent, item number 18 sent to the Finance Committee, Madam President.
I second that.
So I just want to check with the clerk, because we have a motion on the floor right now, taking items 8 through 18. And now we have another motion. So, Mr. Clerk, Shantina, what would be the correct way to do this?
As the chairman requested, you could have that done, and then another motion could be made to pass items, 8 through 17 on a roll call vote, and then we could take 18 alone, and you may refer it to committee if you like.
So the question is, do I need the leader to take back her motion? Okay.
Yes, please. I'd withdraw my motion.
I withdraw my second.
Regarding 8 to 18.
Okay. Perfect. Then, so both motions have been withdrawn. So now, leader.
I'd like to make another motion to pass on a roll call vote 8 through 17.
Second, Madam President.
The motion has been made a second to pass items 8 through 17, and they're going to be passed on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. I see there are 2 hands up. I see Chairman Iglesias and Councilman Goncalves. Is this from before, or you need to speak again?
That's from before, Madam President. My apologies.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Aye.
Councilman Correa.
Aye.
Councilman Espinal.
Aye.
Councilman Goncalves.
Aye.
Councilwoman Harris.
Aye.
Councilman Iglesias.
Aye.
Councilor Kerwin.
Aye.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Aye.
Councilor Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore.
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
You have 14 ayes and 1 absent. The several matters pass on a roll call vote.
Mr. Clerk, I forgot to tell you earlier, I want to be a co-sponsor item number 9 also, but I have done that.
Item 9, so noted.
Okay, thank you. So item number 18, we're taking now, Leader Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to waive the reading of item number 18 and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made a second to waive the reading of item number 18, and the item is going to be referred to the Committee on Finance.
You can have a voice vote on that if you'd like, Council President.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
In favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
So,
Madam
yeah, I
President.
have it. Is that Councilwoman Harris?
Yes, please.
Yes, Councilwoman Harris.
First of all, I want to commend Councilman Igliozzi. We are in some serious times right now, and we need to be as creative as we possibly can. Thank you for doing that and putting it in the Finance Committee so we can vet it all together and be able to come up with what is the best model for Providence. I've worked on police accountability stuff for over 15 years, and I do know that we are in a position to get some things right. So I appreciate that. Thank you for the creative thinking behind it. And I'm looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Harris.
Thank you, Leader Ryan, Leader Harris. Mr. Clerk.
Item 19, Councilwoman Ryan and Councilman Goncalves. Resolution requesting to change the street name of Obadiah Brown Road to Patrick J. McCarthy Road.
Refer to the Committee on Urban Redevelopment and Planning.
Madam President,
Chairman Igliozzi.
if the sponsors have no objection, I'd like to co-sponsor item 19 and 20 also, please.
No objection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, please make a note, and Councilwoman Castillo also, and Pro Tem Correa, and Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
So noted.
Councilman Espinal.
Councilman Espinal.
Here.
Item 20, resolution requesting the Board of Park Commissioners to rename Obadiah Brown Field to Patrick J. McCarthy Field.
Refer to the Committee on Earth, please.
Madam President.
So I heard Leader Ryan first, and then I went.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I also want to make sure I'm co-sponsoring. If there's no objection, I'm co-sponsoring number 20 also, Madam President. I didn't know if the clerk got that.
That was my understanding, that everyone that raised their hand wanted to co-sponsor both items. That's my understanding.
Thank you.
Leader
Madam
Ryan.
President, if I could speak, please, on items 19 and 20.
Continue.
I'm asking my colleagues to support two resolutions tonight calling for the names of the Obadiah Brown Road and Obadiah Brown Field to be changed. As we all are uniquely aware of, we're living in extraordinary times, and young people are calling for change and asking our elected leaders to help amplify their voices. Obadiah Brown was the owner of the first known Providence-based slave ship. That's not a legacy that I want to see honored in Mount Pleasant neighborhood. Obadiah Brown Road is home to Pleasant View Elementary School and the Amin E. Battistini Jr. Recreation Center, as well as the Obadiah Brown Field. Our city's children should not have to go to school or play on a road or a field that is named after a well-known slave trader. They clearly deserve better. I believe that naming both the road and the field after Patrick J. McCarthy, who was the first foreign-born mayor of Providence, is a better example of who we should honor in our city. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our archivist. When I suggested we need to change the name, I asked him to do a search and to try to find an appropriate person that we could name the street in the field after. So it was the archivist's recommendation after doing quite a bit of research. So I did want to thank him for the service that he provides on this topic, but also to the council body. For everyone's edification, Patrick J. McCarthy was born in Brevard Parish, County Sligo, Ireland, in September 12 of 1848. His family immigrated to the United States in 1850 to avoid the potato famine. They were quarantined on Dan Island in Boston Harbor, where his parents died, and he and his 5 brothers were separated after their quarantine. He lived with various family members in 4 houses growing up in Boston. At age 20, he moved to Providence. In 1868, graduated from Harvard Law School in 1876. McCarthy became a prominent attorney in Providence. He served in the city council and was a member of the Rhode Island House of Representatives. In 1906, he was elected as the 24th mayor of the city of Providence. He was a staunch advocate for progressive, good government and was included which included supporting an 8-hour workday for city laborers at that time. I believe that changing the name will help to replace a legacy of slave trading with an important historical figure who represents the ideals that make our country great. The idea that he was held by authorities on Deer Island as a child and then separated from his family is all too eerily similar to the horror stories we hear today at our border with Mexico. Providence needs to celebrate its rich heritage. I think this is a great step in that direction. Join me in supporting these resolutions. Thank you.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Yes, I'd just like to thank the majority leader for taking the time to do the research with the archivist, and with her permission, I'd like to co-sponsor.
Absolutely, Councilwoman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Kerwin also. Councilwoman Kerwin. Any other co-sponsor? I would like to co-sponsor both resolution also, Mr. Clerk. Councilman Espinal.
I may have already, Madam President, co-sponsor. I just want to make sure it's a very important and key resolution. And I just want to thank Majority Leader Joanne Ryan. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Ryan.
Thank you, Councilman.
So both items are going to the committee on Earth. Mr. Clerk.
Item 21, Councilwoman Ryan, Council President Matos, Councilman
Mr. Clerk, I think Deputy Majority Leader Harris was trying to speak. I see, just want to double check. I see 3 hands, Ryan, Espinal, and Harris. I think you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I think we were trying to get on that, removing that name.
Okay. All right. So do you want to speak, Councilwoman Harris, or you?
Oh, no. I think we probably was trying to make sure we was co-sponsored.
Okay, Leader Ryan, do you want to speak, or you're all set?
I am all set. My hand is down. I'm sorry.
Okay, Harris, your hand is still up.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Mr. Clerk.
Item 21, Councilwoman Ryan, Council President Matos, Councilman Espinal, and Narducci.
Madam President.
Leader Ryan.
Motion to ask the clerk to read items 21 through 24 into the record and to pass all of them on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
The motion has been made and second for the clerk to read items 21 through 24, and these items we are going to take one. We're going to vote on a roll call vote for all of them. The clerk.
Okay. Council President, would you like me to ask for co-sponsors as we go through these as well?
Yes, please.
Okay. Item 21 has Councilwoman Ryan, Council President Matos, Councilman Espinal, and Narducci at this time. Resolution requesting continuing education requirements for the Providence Police Department. Do we have any additional co-sponsors?
Councilman Goncalves, Pro Tem Correa, Deputy Majority Leader Harris, Chairman Igliosi. Councilman Goncalves, do you want to speak on any item? Okay, all right, I got you. All right, continue, Mr. Clerk.
Item 22, Councilwoman Ryan, Council President Matos.
I want to be co-sponsor in 21, please.
Councilwoman Castillo. Thank you, Tina.
Item 22, Councilwoman Ryan, Council President Matos, Councilman Goncalves, Espinal, and Narducci. Resolution requesting the Department of Business Regulation take enforcement action against businesses illegally selling fireworks.
I think Councilwoman, Councilor Miller, Pro Tem Correa, Councilwoman Castillo, Councilwoman LaFortune, Chairman Igliosi, Pro Tem Correa, Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Item 23, Councilwoman Ryan, Council President Matos, Councilman Goncalves, Councilwoman Anthony, and Councilman Espinal. Resolution endorsing the Rhode Island Foundation's Chart a Course, Stay the Course report.
Councilor Miller, Pro Tem Correa, Councilor Miller, Chairman Igliosi,
Okay.
any additional? All right, Mrs. Clerk.
Item 24, Councilwoman Ryan, Councilman Goncalves, Councilwoman Anthony, and Councilman Espinal. Resolution endorsing and urging passage by the General Assembly of House Bill H-7575 and Senate Bill S-2711, joint resolution to approve and submit to the electors a proposition of amendment to the Constitution of the state, right to adequate education.
Councilor Miller, Councilor Kerwin, Chairman Igliosi, I would like to co-sponsor also 24. Leader Ryan, do you want to speak, Leader Ryan?
I'd like to speak on all of those items.
Okay, so yes, this is a good time for discussion because the clerk already read all the items. So, Leader Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to speak first on item 21. This is about creating an education requirement for Providence Police. And I began working on this also after our public hearing in finance. But essentially, countless professional fields require annual continuing education. And I don't think a police department should be any different. Currently, there are no continuing education mandates in the city of Providence for our police officers. Training around cultural competency, mental health, and other programs would help keep our officers abreast of the latest industry developments and to higher professional standards. I absolutely believe that Providence has an excellent police department, but our officers' training shouldn't end at the academy after graduation. It is important as city leaders that we provide our public service providers with the tools they need to succeed. Creating continuing education guidelines and programs is a step in that direction, and I believe is critically important. Thank you. I'd like to speak about 20, just to say on 22, as many of you know, I thank this folks have stood up and sponsored this. We've been working, the council staff, the mayor's staff, the Providence Police, the fire department, collaboratively to try to address this year's overwhelming number of illegal fireworks that are plaguing our neighborhoods. This was one of the elements that came out of that group initiative because it was clear that there isn't a lot of regulation on the sale of fireworks when really the only fireworks that are legal are sparklers in the state of Rhode Island. So in addition to creating the task force, the police task force that has already resulted in a number of arrests of individuals illegally shooting off fireworks, the police have also confiscated a number of illegal fireworks. So it's helped ease some of the pain that our neighbors are feeling. And I know many of my colleagues have spoken up and asked for help. And I think this is a great example of us all working collaboratively to address a quality of life issue. So thanks to all who's working on that project, and thanks to my colleagues who are also providing vital input to make sure that that is a success. So that's just the other legislative piece that we wanted to address. On 23, I would just like to say that I want to thank the council president for inviting Neil Steinberg to come into the council. He made a presentation to council as a whole regarding the Rhode Island Foundation's Charter Course Stay the Course report, which was created by the foundation, the foundation's long-term educational planning committee. The report sets out a clear plan of how our state can fundamentally change the public education system. It is incumbent upon all elected officials within our state to review and commit to a roadmap laid out I think in a great way by the Rhode Island Foundation's comprehensive report. Our children deserve nothing less. And then lastly, on 24, also an education piece that I know many of my colleagues feel strongly about, and I thank them for their joining me in sponsoring this. It is basically a resolution supporting and urging passage of House Bill H7575 and Senate Bill S2711. The bills would create a referendum to allow Rhode Islanders to vote on amending the state constitution to establish a fundamental right to adequate and meaningful education for all Rhode Islanders. In every city and town across the state, elected officials are tasked with ensuring that precious tax dollars are being spent in ways that are meaningful and have the most impact on our residents. Quality education is not only promised, but is the very foundation for each of us to reach our full potential. I urge members of the General Assembly to take this bold step to make education a fundamental right for all. And thank you for the time this evening.
Council President, you're muted.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yeah, any further discussions in this item? I see Deputy Majority Leader Harris. And you're muted.
Madam President, I don't think I co-sponsor this with that great explanation of what it's all about. If it's all right with the sponsor, I would like to co-sponsor it. I don't think I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
You would like to co-sponsor all the items, 21 through 24?
I did co-sponsor quite, but 24, I don't think I did.
Okay, all right. Mr. Clerk, please make a note. All right, motion has been made on second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony.
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Aye.
Councilman Correa.
Aye.
Councilman Espinal.
Aye.
Councilman Goncalves.
Aye.
Councilwoman Harris.
Aye.
Councilman Igliozzi.
Aye.
Councilor Kerwin.
Aye.
Councilwoman LaFortune.
Aye.
Councilor Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salazar.
He's muted.
Councilman Salvatore, are you present? Councilman Salvatore?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
They has 14 ayes and 1 absent. The several matters pass on a roll call vote. Reports from committees. Committee on Urban Redevelopment, Renewal, and Planning, Councilwoman Mary Kay Harris, Chairwoman, transmits the following with recommendation the same be approved as amended. Item 25, resolution naming the Providence River pedestrian bridge in honor of Michael S. Van Leesten.
Madam
I would
President,
Leader Ryan,
I'd like to make a motion to pass item 25 on a roll call vote.
Second that motion, Madam President.
motion has been made and second to pass item number 25 on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Madam President, would you like that image displayed at this time, or would we wait till later?
Could you do it now, please?
Sure. Council President Matos,
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony,
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo,
Aye.
Councilman Correa,
Aye.
Councilman Espinal,
Aye.
Councilman Goncalves,
Aye.
Councilwoman Harris,
Aye.
Councilman Igliozzi,
Aye.
Councilor Kerwin,
Aye.
Councilwoman LaFortune,
Aye.
Councilor Miller,
Aye.
Councilman Narducci is absent, Councilwoman Ryan,
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore,
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
You have 14 ayes and 1 absent. The matter passes on a roll call vote.
I would like to acknowledge that my son Lister's children are present and listed as attendees. I can see that Kareem Van Listen is present, Michael Van Listen Jr., and Jordan Van Listen, and Jill Van Listen. And I know there's many of his friends also that are attending the meeting. Mr. Clerk.
Committee on Ordinances. Councilwoman Joanne Ryan, Chairwoman, transmits the following with recommendation the same be adopted. Item 26, an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 27 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Providence entitled the City of Providence Zoning Ordinance, approved November 24th, 2014, as amended to change the zoning district on the official zoning map for the property located on Assessor's Plat 28, Lot 932, 193 Vinton Street, from R3 to R4, and to exempt such lot from certain dimensional regulations.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to pass item 26 for the first time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
Excuse me.
Motion has been made. One
You
second,
know,
Councilwoman Garcia. Motion has been made on second to pass item number 26 for the first time a roll call vote. Councilwoman Garcia.
You know, I forgot to be put my name for the bridge. I want to be co-sponsor for the resolution of the bridge.
Oh, for item number
noted.
25. Okay. For making
Madam
sure
President.
that you're listed. Yeah, Deputy Majority Leader Harris.
Were there any documents or people who wrote letters to be attached as well? Or did you receive any of that?
Great. So can we retake item number 25 so we know where we are?
Motion to
Yes.
retake item 25.
Thank you. Second.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Clerk, did you have documents that go with
Yes.
item number 25?
We do have
Yes.
a series of very nice letters that were received from friends and family of Michael Van Leesten, and those will be included this evening as part of the record along with the official passage of the resolution.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Ms.
Also, I just want to let the family know that we will have in the near future a meeting of the Providence City Council as a whole that is going to be just to honor Mike Van Leesten, the whole meeting, and we're going to invite the family and friends to speak at that meeting. And we're planning to have also other memorials or celebrations together with the Parks Department. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
So having read item 26, would you like the motion to be made to take that up again?
I'll make the
For
motion
item-
again. Motion to pass item 26 for the first time in a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made and second to pass item number 26 for the first time on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk?
Council President Matos,
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony,
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo,
Aye.
Councilman Correa,
Aye.
Councilman Espinal,
Aye.
Councilman Goncalves,
Aye.
Councilwoman Harris,
Aye.
Councilman Igliozzi,
Aye.
Councilor Kerwin,
Aye.
Councilwoman LaFortune,
Aye.
Councilor Miller,
Aye.
Councilman Narducci is absent, Councilwoman Ryan,
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore,
Aye.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
You have 14 ayes and 1 absent. The matter passes for the first time on a roll call vote. From the clerk's desk, I guess,
I say Councilwoman Anthony, sorry. I see 3 hands up. I have Ryan, Harris, and Anthony. I think just Anthony wants to speak,
Yes,
right?
thank you, Council
Councilwoman Anthony.
President. Thank you so much, Council President. I'd like to make a point of personal expression.
Continue.
I would very, very respectfully ask that we do not add born and unborn at the end of our Pledge of Allegiance on the City Council floor. I find it inappropriate, and I would ask that we no longer do that. I think we have the Pledge of Allegiance as a sign of respect for our country, but I think adding unborn and born at the end is a expression that is inappropriate for the City Council floor, and I would request that we no longer do that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Anthony. Any additional discussion, any additional point of personal expression? Mr. Clerk?
from the clerk's desk, item 27, petitions for compensation for injuries and damages.
Refer to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suits.
Presentation of resolutions and congratulations. Item 28, Council President Matos and members of the City Council, resolution extending congratulations.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to move passage of item 28 on a voice vote.
Second that motion.
Motion has been made on second to pass item number 28 on a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Presentation of resolutions in memoriam. Item 29, Council President Matos and members of the City Council, resolution extending sympathy.
Motion
Leader Ryan.
to pass, thank you, Madam President. Motion to pass item 29 on a unanimous rising vote.
Second.
Motion has been made on second to pass item number 29 on a unanimous rising vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam President.
Aye.
Madam
Leader
President,
Ryan.
motion to suspend Rule 16B of the Rules of the City Council in order to take a matter not appearing on the printed docket.
Second, Madam President.
Motion has been made on second to suspend the City Council Rule 16B in order to take an item that was not, did not appear in the printed docket. Mr. Clerk? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk?
Communication. Item 30, communication from Renee Brooks Omusor, Clerk of the Board, and Mercedes Betty Bernal, Commissioner, dated July 1st, 2020, submitting the true official results of the June 2nd, 2020 Ward 1 special election.
And we all know what was the result of the special election. So again, we're going to welcome Councilman Goncalves to the City Council. We're glad that you're here. The item is received. Leader Ryan.
Madam President, motion to adjourn and to meet at our next regularly scheduled meeting on July 16th at 5:30 p.m.
Second that motion, Madam President.
Motion has been made and second to adjourn, and we're gonna meet our next regular meeting on July 16th. It will be at 5:30 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank
Good
you.
night.